Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. This movie is like Cobra Kai if Cobra Kai smoked crystal meth. We've got Bryce Lather on the podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
We've got Cameron Mickle on the pod. Sweet babies, Cameron.
Not only does it represent my black belt in karate, but it also helps keep my pants up.
Oh, wait, if we're supposed to, that was my quote, too. I should have said that. 'Cause that's the quote that I wrote down. I didn't know we were doing quotes right off the bat.
Yeah, well, we always start with like one quote.
Well, Ty didn't do a quote for some weird reason. Usually he does. But.
Yeah, I didn't do a quote because sometimes I don't have one prepared. But yes, I have to tell you, I'm really happy about the belts. We've got Jordan Christensen on the pod.
Men and women do things together like ride in tandem bicycle, or the man, to please the woman, does the tandem bicycle, not because he's interested, and then vice versa.
Yeah, this is a weird movie, dude. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, today we are discussing The Art of Self-Defense. This movie came out in, 2019? And it was not The Art of Racing. Yeah. Or what did you say, Bryce? You're like, oh, I watched Fault in Our Stars and...
and The Art of War.
The Art of War. Dude, you had my heart jump. I was like, no, I texted you like 3 times the title of this movie.
I just wanted to see everybody's faces squirm for a second. Like, wait,
I know. I was like,
right
no,
movie?
Ty.
I was like, oh yeah, we're The Art of War. Oh my gosh. Wait. Oh, I'm thinking of The Lord of War with Nick Cage. What's The Art of War? Which one's that one?
I don't know. I just Googled it to see if there really was a movie, and there was, so I went with it.
I love it. I love it. So this movie came out 2019. It was directed by Riley Stearns, and you might recognize him from other movies like Faults, which is what we're going to review on the podcast. But he's kind of a new and upcoming director. He's got a few other films, but as far as directing, this is pretty much it. I've got 6 because he did 3 shorts, but Faults was his first full length, Art of Self-Defense, and then there's a movie called Duel that's scheduled for 2021. I don't know if it's out yet. I haven't heard of it. So totally going to be looking that up after the pod.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. What was it like watching this movie for the first time and then rewatching it for the podcast? Why don't we have you start us off, Cameron?
So watching it for the podcast was my first time. I didn't know what to expect. I'd watched, I think, half of a trailer. I knew it had Jesse Eisenberg, and I love Jesse Eisenberg, so I was interested.
Is your favorite role Lex Luthor?
Close. I think definitely Social Network's my favorite.
Social Network. Yeah.
But yeah, watching it for the first time I was like,
ding 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 ding. Sorry, I just had a quote.
Gosh, you're so annoying. That needs to be just erased from cinema history.
The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming.
But yeah, so that just watching it, I was loving it. The first half, and then it just takes an insane turn that I was not expecting. I was like, holy shit, this is I was very impressed.
Yeah, it takes a dark turn. I love it.
Yeah, and I think it takes 2 dark turns. It takes like a semi-dark turn, and then it's like full-blown AIDS dark turn. I mean, it's super sad,
like when he's
bleak
like,
ending.
F you, boss, and then punches him in the throat.
That's like the first turn, right? Yeah, where he talks to his dog. He's like, I'm not gonna
cuddle you anymore.
Show affection for you. I'm not gonna smother you anymore. It's for your own good. It'll make you stronger.
And the darker turn is when they murder his dog.
It's consistent. It's consistent with the punch.
A punch.
It doesn't make any sense because it's with the foot.
But I'm sure it's a punch. I'm like, what? How can you know that?
Oh my gosh, guys. Oh my word. So, how about you, Bryce? What was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
So like Cameron, this was my first time watching it. So I hadn't seen it before. I'd heard about it, and I watched the trailer, and I think I was really excited after seeing the trailer because, it was like, I don't know where they get these people that make these quotes from, but it was just like hilarious, and I think one of them was like effing hilarious, and it was like, I was like, okay, man. Here we go. I'm gonna, and I don't know, man. I had a rough time with it. I actually the whole time I just felt like it's sort of been Michael Cera instead of
Interesting. That would have been very interesting.
I totally felt like it was that character that Michael Cera plays in pretty much everything, and I was like, this would have been a good twist for him. And then, like Cameron said, it got really weird. I don't know that it got dark. I didn't feel that take. I felt like I was just like, what am I watching? Like, this is, I mean, there were some crazy parts. I don't know. I think the thing that gets me is, I was talking to you guys a second ago about, being in music and stuff, and I played metal for 20 years, and I'm like halfway through I'm kind of offended. I'm like, wait, are they trying to say that metal made him like this? Because when homie pulls up in the truck, he's blasting metal, and then and then all of a sudden, like, he starts listening to metal and he punches the boss in the throat, and then he goes on this craze thing, and I'm like, is it all because of the metal? Like, so I don't know. I think I enjoyed it, but that was kind of my first take watching it through for the first time.
I specifically thought of you, Bryce, when that scene comes on. He's like, "Oh, you don't listen." He's like, "What do you listen to?" He's like, "Oh, I was thinking of listening to
adult contemporary."
Adult contemporary. He's like, "Shut up! No, you listen to only metal.
Now listen to metal.
You now listen to metal." I thought that was so funny. It reminds me. So Bryce came out to spend some time with me, training me in my work. We worked together, and we were listening to music. Bryce like, "Play whatever you play," and then he's like, "This is what you listen to, dude." And then Bryce introduced some real music to me, and Bryce is like a really good musician. I've listened to his own songs, and I have them now. I'm like, holy crap! And learning just like, oh, there's like good music out there that I never knew. But metal is like almost too harsh for me.
But it doesn't make you want to punch somebody in the throat. That's all I'm saying.
It usually doesn't lead to that.
I'm here to defend metal. That's what I'm here to do. That's my purpose today.
That's right. We had Bryce as what do you call it? An ambassador for metal music, a stand-in to defend metal. I actually think this movie is super interesting. So I'll say my first time watching it, I was surprised at how I would quote unquote artsy it is, because in the end, the trailer doesn't lead you to believe that there's anything like hyper, like this movie almost feels like I'm watching Parks and Rec, where it's like a cartoonish style of like masculinity and femininity, and like the things that people say in this movie sometimes, like they walk up to people and they're like way too in your face, right? Like the strangers that he runs into on the street, they like walk right up to him, like, hey, you shouldn't do this. Or like everyone's like brutally honest. Everyone's like kind of cartoon, like a hyper.
What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, like really weird and confrontational. I'm like, no one is like this. I mean, like, I don't know.
They're kind of almost like children a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
The way they communicate with one another.
Yes. So there's something off about this movie. Like this, I can't even call, like, it is a surreal movie. Like, it's very interesting. So rewatching it again, prepared for that caveat, I forgot about most of the twists, because I remember thinking of the movie as like an artsy representation. I have questions about, the roles of masculine and feminine. Love to get into those by the end, because I'm gay.
We know this.
That's right.
It kind of reminds me of The Lobster a little bit, Ty, where everybody's kind of like, they've toned down all their emotions a bit. Like, but they do kind of...
Yeah, they're saying outrageous things.
Yeah.
You no longer listen to this. You now listen to metal. Oh, I didn't kill your dog. Even though it's an effeminate canine, I still didn't kill your dog. Like, what? Like, again, the ridiculous things that they say throughout this movie. So watching it a second time, I enjoyed it more the second time than my first. So to Cameron and Bryce, maybe on rewatch, or if you show it to somebody else that you think might like this. Oh, okay, yeah. But Jordan, how about you, man? What was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
Well, I love dark comedies, so this is right up my alley. It reminds me a lot of In Bruges, or In Bruges, however you say it.
In Bruges. That's how you say it.
And then it reminds me
Burgess
also of just that, a lot of like Three Billboards in Mississippi. So same director, like this guy kind of has that tone where it's like, it's kind of this darker universe, and I love it. I kind of
Jordan likes the
I know
Fargo
you said it
universe.
Isn't dark, but maybe murder isn't dark to you, Bryce. But I thought it was a
the
pretty
moment
dark universe.
the moment I was like,
when
what
he
the
gets his
fuck?
arm
Yeah,
snapped
when he
in
snapped
back,
his arm,
Bryce is
I was
like, oh, that's not that dark.
I was like, I've seen Bloodsport. Okay, that was way worse. I don't know.
Well, but there's something, because these people are almost like children. Like when that happens and he's wailing like a little baby, like I mean that just I mean to me
Stop.
it just
I'm getting the heebie-jeebies.
hurts.
To me it was Eisenberg's reaction, because again, up to this point he's been told some outrageous things and his reactions are pretty commonplace. Like he was mugged, he's been through an ordeal, he doesn't like his job, he's just kind of going through life, he's kind of picked on. Other people talk about him to his face in other languages, you know, kind of mocking him. So it's like all of a sudden there's like this harsh wake-up call where he's in the night class. He's no longer in the day class. He's still a yellow belt. He's still very inexperienced at this whole new world. And they're just like throw you right into it by breaking this guy's arm, dislocating it or snapping it back. Oh, it's a very horrific image. So yeah, I think it is interesting that you say that, Jordan. Like, yes, it is dark. It is a dark comedy, though, because there are certainly moments where
it wasn't dislocated; funny. It was snapped.
Yeah, whatever you call it, where it's
compound
bending
fractured.
backwards.
Yeah, he compound fractured the opposite way. Because
it just reminded me of like Rex Kwon Do,
but
to like
teach a lesson on leverage, and like that's one way to teach.
Grab my arm, my other arm.
What I love, the one part about that, though, I will say this: I think it had way too much blood in that. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of blood for what he did. But anyway, is when when right before when he, you know, they're having that talk about whether they should be in the night class or not, or whether that, you know, like I felt betrayed because he, you know, went to the night class without him, and then as soon as he calls him up, you know, hey, can you help me with this? He kind of turns to him and gives him that look like, see, I belong here. And then I already knew something bad was about to happen. Because
my gosh.
He gives him that look like, see? And I'm like, yep, this is not going to end well for this dude.
He's like, I gave you your blue belt. I can never take it away from you. But never come back to my dojo. Never come back here or something like that. Or, yeah, he's like, I couldn't take his belt, so I took his arm. Like, holy shit. Dude.
Well, and then he kicked him out of the class. He wouldn't let him come back, you know. Yeah.
So crazy. But he's still going to have to pay those fees, man. Even if you're not coming to the dojo. He's got blackmail on you, man. He's going to have you paying for the rest of your life. What a crazy movie. Guys, okay, so did I already give the plot synopsis of this one? I don't think I did. Okay, so quick plot synopsis, and then we'll get into two of our favorite things. So after being attacked on the street, a young man enlists at a local dojo, led by a charismatic and mysterious sensei, in an effort to learn how to defend himself from future threats. That tells you everything and nothing at the same time, like we said. So Cameron, get into two of your favorite things from this movie.
I think definitely the reveal was a big thing that I was like, oh snap! That they like. I kind of figured that when they like.
Wait, was the reveal that arms don't bend that way, Cameron? Is that
no? The reveal that they were the people who beat him up. I was like, I kind of had a feeling because when they had like all those biker masks on and like they didn't reveal who it was, I was like, it's a little suspicious. I feel like that's kind of important. And then later when they're like, okay, let's go do this, I was like, holy shit.
Open up the garage. Did it piece together when you see the garage open, or like what right? Like was it that moment, or did you catch on earlier?
I caught on a little bit earlier because I was just like, I feel like that's kind of suspicious that like, I don't know. I felt like he was way too, like to be such a psycho karate guy, to be so accepting of people, I thought was very suspicious. Maybe it's because I'm very suspicious of everyone. I think everyone's a serial killer. But anyone that's too nice, I am always suspicious of. They always have alternate motives or ulterior motives. So, but and my second favorite thing, honestly, was just I just thought I loved how clever like the sensei was. He was so intelligent into where like he would. The way you would get in, like initiate into the group was him having leverage over you, because he knew as soon as like you would get into it, you would want to back out. You're like, oh man, because people would have their conscience come up, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, remember this thing that I got on video? As soon as he started videoing it, I'm like, leave, kill him, do something. I'm like, dude, not your friend.
Yeah,
anyone who videos you, anyone who videos you committing a crime, they are not your friend. They are the enemy.
I'm just taping your growth.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Brilliant. Bryce, how about you? Two of your favorite things from this movie.
I think I would. One thing I really liked was, and you kind of alluded to this with the artsy thing, but I actually really, really liked the different angles that the director chose. And I know this probably isn't like the story type thing, so I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but I mean, like just like the scene where the camera's under the desk and he's at work and he's punching at the camera, you know, and
practicing moves, right?
Showing how into this new world he's become. And so there was a few different, I mean, he had a really good use of just angles and lighting and things like that throughout the story to help build it. And so I really, I like watching films for things like that, to see different things that they do. And because I mean, you could have showed that, I think, a myriad of different ways, but the way that those angles that he chose to use, I think really accented how much he was, leaving kind of his old world, if you will, and then, joining this new karate world.
But him still wanting to be there until the exact 5 o'clock, and because he still wants to give the appearance that he's normal, but then boom, gone.
Yeah. And then actually the two is kind of along the same lines as this, but as the story transitions, like they use a lot of the same groups, like 3 guys in the coffee in the break room, where
yes.
At first they
this is the best.
They're like, yeah, or he's he goes from that to all of a sudden now he's the alpha. And
I'll take your chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do push-ups.
You're going. Yeah, let's do push-ups. And I just punched him in the throat. So I'll, what I mean, like that whole using that same, that same group, the boss, the dog. I mean, there's a lot of the same things and that they use to show his change, though those things aren't changing, but his influence on them and vice versa changes throughout the film. So I thought that was probably my second favorite part about it, is the decisions that they made in showing that.
Oh, love it. Yeah, the transition. I love that. Like everything from he knows pretty good French. Like you could argue he's fluent. He was speaking pretty complex French. And that couple at the restaurant's making fun of him at the diner, pretending like they're making fun of him, just emasculating him, but he understands everything they're saying. And then later he's shown learning German. Like my assumption is, again, French being like a wimpy language, and I was like, oh, you're gonna speak a manly language like German. And then he loses his poor dog, and then ends up getting this German Shepherd, which is gifted to him from his freaking psycho sensei. And he's like, train your dog well, because it will tear your throat out if it doesn't respect you while you sleep. So it's like, I really like Bryce said, all the transformations that he makes for every facet into his life, and for better or for worse. And I have actually questions about the ending and what you guys thought about. So I really like the ending. I think it's very dark when there's like a new world order and someone steps up, and then it's like, are we going to do things differently? And you have all these ideals, but then as soon as you get to that pinnacle, you're like, I'm just going to keep it going. Like, you can't stop it. At the very end, when he's like, I mastered the move. I punched a hole right through his head with this finger. And then he's like, this is how it's going to be from now on. And I'll be here. And then the girl, she's going to teach the night class from now on. It's crazy.
And so is that,
gonna keep,
we're supposed to believe that that's how the original master did it as well, right? He probably shot him and then poked his finger in it and said
I wonder, he does reference that guns are like not good, but it's great because Eisenberg, he's standing over his dead body. He's like, well, you said that men that use guns are weak, but yet I would argue that you're dead, which makes you more weak than I. So therefore,
dude,
I don't know. Like, that's why I have
so
questions. It's crazy.
Did anyone else?
I like that.
Did anyone else question whether the sensei was the one that actually shot the original Grandmaster?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
because he knew possible. Strangely so much about that incident and explaining the shotguns and all that. Like I felt like there was that kind of question, like, was he the one that killed him and then took over? And it's kind of history repeating itself with them doing the same thing. So anyway,
I love that.
No, and his master before that, I think they're like all doing it. I think it's like a cycle.
Eventually, you just get so pompous, and you get to the top of your game, and then the new up and coming dog, comes and takes you out,
but
right?
here's the thing though, how really because he was the only one to have that rainbow belt, right? But it was like he had the rainbow belt, but he gave it to himself. And he made it himself. So it was like these guys were masters, but they were only masters because they said they made themselves a master. I mean, I could create a belt and say, I'm the top of my art, and as long as I could get people to believe me, I mean, like, who really knows? So, I mean...
True. And to the defense of the master that Eisenberg fights, the senseis, that's his character name, the Alessandro Nivola's character.
You mean Leslie?
He tries to fight him. Yeah, or Leslie. Yeah, you prefer Casey because Leslie's a feminine name, right? I love that. Like all the insult to injury, like all the masculine and feminine, like they try to emasculate each other on everything. Their names down to the music they listen to
their animals.
There's so many instances. Yeah, or their choice in animals as companions. You're gonna learn to punch with your foot. And kick with your fist. I thought it was great. And he's doing the monologue and he's like showing. So Sensei does know how to fight because he does actually fight Jesse and does beat him. And then he's like, I want to challenge you to the death, no, unarmed or whatever. And they do fight. Well, they're about to fight. And then boom, he pulls out the gun that he bought earlier from the arms dealer and shoots him right in the head, right in the dojo. It's crazy. Crazy. So yeah, I do believe that it's just repeats itself because then he lies to everyone how he did it, right? Pushes his index finger right through the bullet wound, and he's like, I killed him by shoving my index finger through his head, which is ridiculous, but they all seem to believe it. They all buy into it.
That's the thing. As I don't think, because I thought I kind of had a beef with that, and I was like, I think that's so stupid. No one would believe that. But at the same time, I think all of them were so happy to have him gone that they just didn't give a fudge. They were like,
yeah,
whatever.
That's true.
Okay,
that's true.
However he killed him, we're just glad he's gone.
Right, and I actually have questions about that too. Like, do you think this is just doomed to repeat itself? Because obviously Eisenberg didn't like it. Casey's character was upset
Eisenberg,
about being blackmailed.
I feel like he didn't have the intentions to be the Grandmaster. He gave it over to the girl. Like,
he just wanted to get rid of him as the chief because he.
I mean, her on the other hand, I can't speak on behalf of her. She was insane.
Yeah, she almost killed that dude. When he's like, you're done for tonight. And she's like, so is he.
Yeah,
I'm like,
beats Thomas with an inch of his life because he was above her and belt status, but she had been there longer.
Scoot over, brown
she
belt.
She had done all the trainings. It's great. So, Jordan, what are two of your favorite things from this movie?
Oh, two. I don't know. I just think this movie's hilarious. I was laughing a lot. I like the humor. I think there's plenty of jokes to be had. Just the way they talk. I love how they're just like, he's like, what kind of gun you're looking for? Something that'll fit in my hand. So you want a handgun. It's just like,
And then he holds it for a second. Yes, I can hold this well in my hand.
This is exactly what I want.
This is exactly what I want. I can hold it easily in my hand.
And then, just how they describe everything and how they talk to each other. It just sounds so unnatural. I love it. Like, I love how weird and everything this world is. It's very fun. And I like that he kind of has expounded on it. And I also like the kind of, it feels like an era. Because if you notice, the technology is not...
Yeah, I think it's set in the 70s or something, the cars they drive. I got the vibe from, kind of, well, not even 70s. I'd say maybe early 2000s, late 90s maybe?
Yeah.
Late 80s? I don't know.
That's kind of a big span there. You're like 70s, maybe 2010.
Maybe 80s. My point, well, definitely...
The fact that they have a cult
we'll get into
a cult to beat up people in the streets to get more attendance in their karate dojo just is the craziest premise I've ever heard.
It's a good business plan. No, and then even if they leave your dojo, you've got to blackmail them so they'll keep sending you money, even if you don't even attend the classes. If you're disgusted by him, he's like, I got the tapes. And I have a crematorium. I'll just burn you alive.
That was a little odd right there too. I was like, wait a minute.
Crazy. He's got a biking garage. He's got a crematorium.
Don't question it. It's in this. It's in the
Kevin, you mentioned
equipment room. You don't go in there.
You mentioned Disturbia. Yeah, you mentioned Disturbia last podcast. When he goes down and finds the basement, the locked room, and he's got the crematorium there and all these tapes and everything, and he watches the footage.
Dude, I was just waiting for him to walk in.
Going in the murderer's basement. Don't go in there. Oh my gosh! He's gonna find you in there.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to just walk in and be like,
just pop up. Yeah, what are you doing in here? And then throw him in the crematorium. Throw him in the incinerator,
Well, and aren't there laws and stuff to you can't have a crematorium? So did he buy the building and it was already there, or has laws changed over the years?
This is just one of those things where I don't believe it. It's too fantastic to actually happen. But yeah, it is great.
I just wonder how he got it
so that's how he gets away with murdering people. He has an incinerator in his basement,
and it's still functional, which was I thought maybe he bought an old building, but then he
that's what I thought. Yeah,
it turns it on and it's all up to code and everything, and I'm like, this thing's
well cleaned. Yeah, it looked really sleek. Took good care of it.
Yeah, I'm like, what episode of Rick and Morty is this from? Goodness gracious.
Okay, hey, so here's my theory, Bryce. All the unbelievable stuff like that, maybe he found a contractor, blackmailed him into doing karate, and then had him build an incinerator for him, or fix up the incinerator that was there. Right? Maybe he's got powerful politicians. He's got he's blackmailed all these different people. So anything that can't be explained seems like a plot hole. He blackmailed the person to get it done, right? Yeah, that's Sensei, dude. He's and that was a great foreshadowing moment too, where he's like, I can't keep up with the business, and you're like, there's like 8 people here.
Yeah,
what are you talking about the business? Like, this is a failing dojo, and it's like he's blackmailed like countless people. He had all those tapes in the basement, so it's like all these people are still raking in money. They have to pay him. It's just crazy. So. Yeah. Love the twist, Cameron. That was great. So do you guys have any nitpicks? I thought the crematorium was a good nitpick. Any other nitpicks you guys want to throw out about this movie?
I mean, there's a few, honestly.
One, I would just say, if you punch your boss in the throat, I think it's pretty much assumed that you're not working there anymore, right? I mean,
he did get
he's sitting
fired.
there. He's got on his computer desktop. His work is piling up on his desk, and the boss comes up to him and he's like, "Hey, can you I don't want you to feel obligated to come on the weekend." Like, what a passive-aggressive way to say that to him. He's like, I don't want you to have to feel like you have to come in on the weekend to make up all the... And he just stands up and he's like, puts his fist to his side and he just strikes him right in the throat. Like, and he was like, the boss wasn't even a guy. He was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
He paid him out of his own pocket for a week after his vacation run out. I don't know what kind of...
Right.
That was...
Right.
He invited him over for dinner and,
For barbecues.
yeah.
And he's like, and then I'm gonna while thinking of your wife. I was like, what a Eisenberg has become, dude.
Yeah, that was...
what a
that part made me laugh really hard. I'm going to be thinking about your wife.
I'm starting to think I was rooting for the bad guy all along, dude. Oh, man. Because you really feel for him at first. Like, I mean, he was a loser. He gets beaten up by the biker gang. He's crying in his car. Like, he was truly emotionally hurt, Like, and then it's like, take matters into your own hands. Become what you hated all along, or what you used to fear, you become that, right?
Kind of reminds me of Wanted a little bit, minus the, curving bullets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does have that.
Yeah.
I could see that. It definitely had a Wanted vibe. That's a good comparison. He just smacks his boss with the keyboard, right? Yeah.
Kind of
quitting route. Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't
work.
It was the guy cheating on his wife.
It was his coworker.
Oh, that's right. It was
Chris
his coworker,
Pratt.
right? But then in this one, it's like,
Who was a chubby Chris Pratt back then before he...
Yes.
That's right.
And a
That's
funny
right.
Chris Pratt.
Right.
These days, he's...
pretty muted. They got him on some pretty heavy steroids, so it's like his personality has just gone away. Lay off the juice.
That's not the only thing that's gone away.
So other things.
So you said nitpicky. I got one. So the whole dude in the parking lot falling and hitting his head and like splitting it open. I thought that was pretty far fetched. Like it would have been
by one punch.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, I was like,
oh, he just shoved him almost. He didn't even punch him really.
But he falls and like you hear that crack and all that. Like I'm like. I think it would have been even worse. I did like how they transitioned that scene into the dog scene to where you almost think, like, is he at the hospital for this guy? Like, asking him, like, did I kill him, And then you find out it's a dog. So, I mean, that was cool. But the whole thing about in the parking lot, I thought was just like, I was like, what? Like... I mean, nobody falls like that. And then I'm like, how is there, like, no one else walking around that bar? And it's just the little thing. I mean,
I was also curious.
He punched him with his foot, or what? How did he do?
He learned to kick with his fist.
He kicked him with his fist.
Did anyone else think when they saw the dog just laying on the floor that he had forgotten to feed it for a couple of days? I thought that's why, and I thought it had just died of starvation, and shriveled up. I was like, that's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, which again, I totally forgot. There's another death in this movie when he finds out that the other student, Thomas's character, we find out he removes the bandage around his arm and he finds that there's teeth marks from his dog.
Oh yeah,
he was obviously the one that was sent there to kill his dog, and so he sicks the German Shepherd on him and murders him in the dojo in front of everyone. So again, even if you didn't believe that Eisenberg didn't finger punch someone so hard through their skull.
Oh, and he just so casually just pulls him down. He's like, oh okay, and throws him in the incinerator. I'm like, what?
But so even if you didn't believe Eisenberg, or Casey killing people with one finger through their brain and their skull, you still had this insane German Shepherd that could murder you, like, on his command. He's like, on my left. No, my other left.
Other
He's
left.
like,
I thought that was
kill
fun.
him. Like, what?
Didn't he kill a police officer too? An undercover cop?
I don't know if he
who
killed
did?
him,
Casey?
but he definitely beat the snot out of him.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he hit his
I
head
don't
on
know if
the
he was
fire
dead. Yes.
hydrant. I was like,
Yeah.
I think we're to believe that he was dead because you have a
Yeah, because
lookup.
he said, "I'm giving you your red stripe." He's like, "That's for killing somebody."
I think that was for the person he punched in the
No,
parking lot.
no,
Didn't
no.
he kill that guy?
No,
No,
he said
the
he would
red
never be
stripe
the same.
came
Over the
after
murdering.
the fire
It
hydrant.
did come after.
dude, yeah.
'Cause, that was a great reveal too, where he's like, "Those are for instructors." He's like, "They're not for instructors." When he kills someone, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, I like that. Like, again, just another secret the whole time. You're like, "Oh, so like he's killed."
Well,
someone.
there's a lot of
This
moments
other
where
student's
they
killed-
like jokingly say, "Oh, it's if you killed somebody." Ah, just kidding. It's for the instructors. But later you find out it was for killing somebody.
That's for
And then there was a
someone.
fun foreshadowing too when he's watching the TV and he says that same quote at the end. You know, I don't play by the rules, and the guy shoots him, and that's kind of like a foreshadowing of how the end happens, which is kind of fun.
Exactly.
You guys did recognize that's the same actor in Faults, right? In that
Is
little
it really?
movie.
No.
In the movie, yes.
Yes,
the
it's the same
guy.
same guy.
It's
the one
guy
that
they use in
shoots.
Faults.
Yes, I was like, oh, that's cool. He uses a lot of the same people.
Yeah, it was cool to have him.
That's a
kind
great
of
cameo.
appear as a cameo.
Oh, that's
yeah, it was a
awesome.
great cameo. The guy in the TV is, and it's like the over the top kind of cop. Yeah, I don't play by the rules. It's great, and it's cool because again, those were things that Casey was doing in his previous life, right? Because in the end, he bought the gun out of self-defense because he was fearful, right? And then he ends up using it to defeat Sensei. So I have a few questions at the very end. Do you guys find it hopeful? Like he puts the Imogen
the
Poots
psychopath
character
girl
Anna.
in
He puts her in
charge?
charge of the night class. Do you get the sense that they're now going to change everything? I got a super dark foreboding. Like you hear Jesse Eisenberg teaching the day class now. I don't know, like, and you just see the image, like the credits are rolling. You hear him instructing the class, and you see the picture of the old sensei. There's not a new picture of the new
dog.
sensei.
No, there's the dog.
And the dog, exactly. It's like, that's the killer. That's the Stone Cold Killer, you know. Like,
And the funny thing is the dog picture, I don't know if you noticed, but it was like one of those old 80s type pictures where they take two pictures and merge it. So there
Yeah.
was like a bigger picture of the dog in front and then the dog looking off in the distance in the back. Like,
Yeah, that was cheesy as
like
fuck.
my
montage
grandma had
photo.
that picture,
Yeah.
except it was of my grandma. You know what I mean?
yeah. Right. So, you know, what were you saying, Bryce? Late 70s, maybe the 2000s, maybe late,
Right.
maybe 70s?
I had the feeling where it was just like I just felt like it was a dark overtone just because of if like you had the feeling of this is like a society, like the group that they are in is just a group that will never like have to pay for their like actions, that there's no consequences in this like world because like
it's a cult.
Yeah, you just murder
both
people
of
and
those
it's like well
movies
as long
are
as you
cults, yeah.
kill a worse person, you're good. It's like as long as you kill someone everyone
Yeah.
hates, there's no problem with that.
Well, I loved it too because in the end, like you find out that the guy that he pushed over, like it wasn't the biker gang because he was the one that was the biker gang. Like he is the one that goes out and beats people up. They just find a drunk guy. Like it could have been anybody leaving a bar, and he's like, "Oh, I gave him descriptors. Sometimes he wears a hat, sometimes he doesn't. He wasn't wearing a hat in this instance." And so he's like, "That's the guy. I know he's the biker." And he like walks. He's not even the guy that owns a bike. He owns a bicycle. You know, and Jesse Eisenberg has that realization. He's like, "I just punched an innocent person or killed him, I guess, because he cracked his head open." Like, I don't know how that happened, but again, I almost think it would have been interesting because his transition was so quick. I was surprised he wasn't willing to kill the people that got him first, but I guess we're to believe that he still had a soul, but he very quickly changes, and I don't know when it happens. Maybe it's when he finds out he's been blackmailed because he comes and disrespects the dojo, right? He comes in, he spits food out, he spills his drink, he doesn't take off his shoes, he doesn't bow.
That was with the dog. He did that because
So
he realized
maybe
somebody
that's-
killed his dog.
So that's when it all changed,
Then
right?
when he
Yeah.
switched, I
He's like
think was
John
when
Wick.
he actually when he went in the office and he saw the VHS tapes of him. And,
Interesting.
You
So
know,
those were the
that
two.
almost like the Faces of Death type. If you guys remember those VHS tapes back in the day, but it was kind of like that idea where it was like, you know, he had filmed everything and put it all on these VHSs, and I think that at that point he was like, all right, I'm gonna kill this guy.
No, I like that. That's true. Yeah, those were the two inciting instances. His dog being killed, because that was like the one thing that was almost tethering him to his previous life, right? Like he kept insulting him for his dog, and he's just like, a very masculine breed or whatever.
And the dog is the whole reason it happened in the first place because he had to go out and get dog food. You know what I mean? So it was like that
Good
was
point.
kind of the link, I think, in the storyline is, I mean, had he not had the dog, he wouldn't have gone out that night. And side note here, if I'm ever on a motorcycle and I pass by somebody walking, I'm going to yell out, "Do you have a gun?" Just to reminisce. I'm sorry, if anybody ever drove by me and asked me if I had a gun, I'm leaving right then. I am not going to continue
I'd be
walking.
booking it.
Don't pass go. Do not collect $200. I'm going taking my brown butt home.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's the scariest question ever. Do you have a gun?
Oh,
That's
I
when
know.
say
You were supposed to
yes.
ask. You were the spotter. You're supposed to ask if he had a gun. Oh my gosh. Oh my word. Yeah, Anna gets shot in the leg. That's
Which
crazy.
is
Like
so
again,
ridiculous in and of itself, because if you have a gun and someone asks you if you have a gun, how likely are you going to be like, "Yeah, I do"? You're
I'm
gonna.
packing right here, baby.
It's just like that question all of a sudden makes you safe. Like, "Oh, do you have a gun?" Oh, he didn't say yes, so he obviously doesn't have a gun. Like,
One of the other nitpicks I absolutely loved, and I don't know if I can call it a nitpick. It's just when he goes in to buy the gun, he's like, "Hey, you're not thinking about buying a knife, are you? Because 9 times out of 10, knife fighters will lose to a gun in a fight, in a gun battle." And then later he goes, "Do you have kids?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, okay, good." Because people that have kids are more likely to get into accidents with their guns. And then later at home, he's like, "Hey, you've been approved for the gun." And he goes, "Oh, I don't know if I need it." Or then he goes, "Wait, you're not thinking about having kids now, right? Because if you're having kids, there's a safety pamphlet for it." Like, the guy is such a weird salesman. Like, he just makes me laugh. He's like peddling this gun. He's doing a terrible job at it. Like,
No, my favorite though is when he's on the phone with him and he's like, "Casey," he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a woman."
Yeah, when he answers the phone, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was a woman." That's great, dude. Oh my gosh, brilliant. But he wastes no time, He even changes. I like when he. Also, one other thing I wrote down was he changed his order. Right? She's like, "Oh, the usual," and he's like, "No, I want black coffee and nothing to eat." Like even his order is like masculine, right? I thought that was so funny.
And there was great humor to be had in the beginning too, when he's like listening to these like, you don't know if he can like, you're wondering if he can understand what these people are saying, but then as soon as he gets in the car and he hits the tape, it says, "You have reached lesson 26. You should have a firm 27. Yeah, you should have a firm understanding of the language for the French language." That was great.
It's great. It's brilliant. I love it. There was a really funny scene too where they're like, this movie is very too like they're all like straight male.
Yeah.
Everyone's like cooling off by giving each other massages and stretching.
It's because their hands are hard to tie, remember?
Yeah. But I'm sorry. A massage from a woman has weaker hands, but at least a massage from a woman is still better than a self massage. I thought that was so crazy.
That was the moment I knew it was
So,
a cult.
like-
I was like, "What the fudge?"
And the poor woman's locker room, it's like where the furnace is and the water softener.
We'll tell you. You remember why? Because she freaking murdered a dude when she was in the locker room with him.
That's right.
but she's totally okay with it too. She's like, "Oh yeah, women, I'm sorry, my hands aren't strong enough." And what?
I know. She's like bought into it. You're like, does she believe this stuff? Like, it's so crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. I love that.
Yeah. Is there any guy that would prefer a massage from a male over a female besides gay people?
Ty has surprisingly small and soft hands. So I mean,
Close your eyes.
You wouldn't notice the difference.
That's right. That's right.
Ty, you could be the
They're
kill.
masculine.
Ty, you could be the what's it called killer in the Zodiac version of the Korean version of Zodiac. What's it called? Oh,
Memories of
Murder.
Memories of
Yeah,
Murder.
that dude
Oh,
had
yeah,
really
the
soft
soft
hands.
That's right. Oh my gosh, that was like a whole story point. What made me think of Mandy though is at the very end when Casey, turns out his name is Leslie, when he's like, "I can make you a black belt." Like right as he's about to fight him to the death, he's like, Jordan's wearing his Mandy t-shirt. Of course he is. So do you ever take that thing off and wash it? You
No.
weirdo. So it reminded me of Mandy though when he's like, "I can make you a black belt." And he's like bribing him at the end instead of having to fight him. I love that. Like he's like, "I'll give you whatever you want." Like, I don't know. It's interesting. There was like a moment where he's like, "I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight him." I thought that was interesting.
Well, I thought you were going to say the quote, Ty, from Mandy.
Bryce, that's another movie for another time. Mandy with Nicolas Cage.
Do not watch
It
So
is an
good.
LSD trip.
It will scar you.
Yeah, but at the very end, there's a great moment where he's like playing all tough, and then as soon as he gets up to him, he's like, oh, don't hurt me, man. He, like, totally melts like into a puddle. It's great. So it reminded, but briefly, because even then he admits, he's like, I will kill you. Like, you won't beat me. And he's convinced, like, he's going to fight him unarmed fight, to the death, and just pulls out a gun and shoots him right in the head, right in his dojo.
Also,
almost anticlimactic.
Slight
to be fair,
nitpick is: are we to assume that homie is John Wick? It's marksmanship, which is straight, just straight pull up
too.
right to
Pull
the
the pistol straight in his head.
First time
Didn't even
ever
seem to
probably
take an
shooting
aim.
that gun. I mean, maybe he went and practiced, but still, like, that's a hard. Like, I've gone shooting a lot, and like that's still a hard shot to make, even though you're like 12 feet away.
So I was going to throw out my nitpick is just shortly after when Anna tells them, is like, in this class, we're going to change some things. It is possible to be brutally tolerant and peacefully savage. And I don't know if I agree with that. I have no idea what that means. Do you guys have any thoughts about that quote? Or
means nothing.
What does it mean to be brutally?
It's one of those cool things that people say, and you're just like, wow, that was profound.
Nonsense. The imaginings of a woman, right? Yeah, we can just chalk that up to just a woman brain. She came up with.
Oh my gosh.
This movie's crazy. Like I said,
how are you married? I'm just wondering. Did you just say that? I'm just good.
Dude, I'm totally making a joke because in the end, like this movie, like if someone were to ask me what they think male toxicity is, I'm like, watch this movie, like, but these are like cartoonish versions of people. Like, I mean, maybe someone like Casey exists, right? But like, it's obviously done to stylize it and like to point it out, like to shine a light on it. But it doesn't even feel preachy because at the end, I don't know if it works because they're just going to repeat the same cycle. Anna's going to have to start killing people to keep them in line, or she's going to be killed. It's a dog-eat-dog world, right? Literally, dogs are eating and tearing out your throat in this movie. So I'm just saying, like, someone else is going to come along, kill Anna or kill Jesse.
I don't think somebody's going to come along and kill her. I don't think they're all psycho. I think just that... Oh, maybe actually in this universe, probably. Yeah, just give it a few weeks, They'll be like, hey, we're tight on money. We got to go start beating up people in the street to get more people to come and she only killed somebody because, the guy was gonna, I thought that was the only reason, right?
Yeah, or because she was being blackmailed.
And she spared the guy's life in the video because she claimed she could hear the siren sound because of her woman ears. I can pick up tones that men can't. Like I said, there were so many things in this movie where, I know factually that's not true, but it's still...
it's so funny.
It made me laugh. It was funny. She was using her femininity to appeal to their better nature. Very interesting movie. I thought it was very interesting.
Wait. I have a really... one of my favorite quotes is when he's like, okay, so why are you here? And he gets all intense, and he's like, it's multiple choice. And he goes through the list.
Reasons why you're here. Fitness, this
New Year's resolution.
New Year's resolution. That's right. And then he's like, oh, I'm here for fitness. I thought you said it was New Year's resolution. He's like, oh, right. Like, he's trying to get him to confess that he was attacked. He knows because he picked him out. They drove by him and beat him within an inch of his life. Within an inch of his life. He's in the hospital or whatever. And a lot of people get beaten within an inch of their, within an inch of their life. So
I just want to know the turnover rate on that of how many people they beat up to how many people come to the dojo. I want to know the rate of return on that. For every 8 people we beat up, we get 1 to come to the dojo.
Well, he even said, Cameron, he's like, so many people fail that first step.
Yeah, I'm like, how many are you beating up a week? Like, we're averaging 20 people we beat up a week, and we get 1 new student every month. Like, what? You menace to society.
But then again, you keep them for life, Cameron. Blackmail forever. So it's not like they need new business every day.
You get that residual income coming in.
Yeah. All that matters is that one investor, and then it's eternal.
Yeah, you just...
you can't be getting that.
For life, man.
They're beating up a lot of people based on, what they were talking about. I'm just thinking of people just getting beat up because they're like, oh, another mugging tonight. I'm like, what is this place?
But no, Cameron, to your defense, right? It wasn't his first thought, right? His first thought was, I'm going to get a gun.
Yeah.
For self-defense.
Oh, for sure.
It wasn't even to sign up for karate. So you're right. It is interesting that,
I feel like
what is the successful rate of return?
It motivated him to go to karate because of how pathetic he was. And I'm like, I guess they just pick on all pathetic people. They're just like, he looks pathetic, and then just beat the shiz out of him. hope he comes to karate.
Just to be alone, right? They have to be alone.
I have a really crazy idea for the film, or they could just pay for advertisements. that is an alternate solution that would require less beating to the point of almost death. But
it's called a flyer. Yeah,
it's a different.
Leave him out.
It's definitely a different type of marketing. But you do you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's guerrilla warfare out there, man.
Yeah, it's like doctors going out and just getting a bunch of people sick and so they could come in. I'm like, what the fudge, man?
Great, dude. Brilliant. Well, do you guys have any other quotes you wanted to throw out from this movie?
Just that whole dialogue between him and the boss, like making him like you were saying, Ty, on Victor Crowley, just the idea of like making a villain like, oh, he he's a sexist, so therefore he must die. Like I don't think they necessarily did that. I think this is the kind of a more right way to go about it. It's like him as a whole is a kind of a villain. He's just not a great guy. And so I thought they did it the right way. Like I thought this chick was a total bad A too. I mean, I liked her, but I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't forced down my throat kind of thing. Woman empowerment. Like
but even if it was still very well
way.
done.
Yeah.
Yes, no, because it was so over the top. Like, when's the last time I heard it in a movie where he's like, I can pick up sounds from my feminine ear holes? Like what are they talking about? Like alluding to actual science that doesn't exist. Human anatomy that doesn't actually exist. But they believed it, which was really funny. Like, that just shows how dumb they are. Any last minute quotes you guys wanted to throw out there? I think I pretty much said all of them throughout.
Dude, the one that you mentioned earlier of just, I was thinking of your wife. When they're it's freaking the most savage thing you could say to your boss. I was like, holy fudge.
I know, it's crazy.
But it was peacefully savage.
Brutally tolerant and just
brutally
peacefully savage.
And peacefully savage.
Yeah, like I said, I think the message is lost. I know that they said it at the end. I just got the feeling that it's not. Like, it's just a cycle that's destined to repeat itself. That's just what I got from it. Because even if they're a more peaceful dictator, there's going to be someone more vicious. Because in this world, dog eat dog, like, it's whoever has the biggest gun, whoever's the quickest, whoever plays dirty. There are no rules in this competition, right? Like, someone's going to outsmart Anna and Jesse, or Casey, and they're going to be right back under the thumb of someone like Casey again. It's going to be the next person that discovers there's a crematorium in the basement. That's all it takes. You're like, I can get away with anything. And it has a motorcycle garage for my bicycle gang. It's just so crazy, dude. Business model works. It's a proven
to blackmail
residual income. Exactly. You do accounting? You're like a black belt in accounting. Or physical black belt. A physical black belt, I think he calls them.
We haven't addressed this at all yet, talking about this, but did anyone else, like, what the heck was up with the belts? Like, the actual belts that he got that people were wearing, like, every day. And, like, I took martial arts for quite a few years, and I can't think of ever, like, going, like, I want to wear this with my pants. Like, how can I do this so that I can walk into Sears or whatever and still show everybody, and I mean, and like,
you mean you never went to a grocery store and only bought yellow stuff?
No, just to celebrate when I
all your stuff is yellow. Pineapple.
Well, like bananas. I said, they just seem like children almost. That's something I would have done when I was a little kid.
Yeah. Match your groceries with your belt color.
No, that's a good point. It's a good point.
Because it doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
And I would even argue, again, for the stuff, like, they go up to each other's waistline, they tear off each other's belts, and they tie the gis around. Like, it's weird. Like, I'm just saying, like, I mean, this movie is like...
Well, that actually happens, though, like that.
Yeah.
No, it's true. But what I'm saying is, like you said with the camera angles,
that's
like
massages after. Those don't happen.
Right. It goes there.
At least you weren't aware of them.
What I'm saying is, I think the movie did.
I didn't have the night class.
You were in the day class with the normal humans.
That's right. Just with the day class. That's right. No, but in the end, like, I think the movie does a good job at challenging masculinity and femininity, right? Because, like, I don't know. I mean, like, when this movie could be set in, I could understand that, like behavior is not being, like, masculine, but, like, these dudes are pretty comfortable with their masculinity, dude. They're just massaging for all we know, dude. Like, it's weird. I'm just saying, like, it's very weird in the sense that
that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Okay, they're and cooling off is what they said, and they're all like Anyway, whatever. I'm just saying. I thought it was interesting because again,
Apparently,
it
Ty's never had an
masculinity.
actual massage. He's like,
Yeah.
Is that's what you guys do, right? You just massage it.
Massage
Just
what the fudge? Psychopath?
what I'm saying is, I think that's what it was alluding to. I know it didn't.
You sound
happen,
you
and
sound
didn't
like Chris
visually see it, but it
Pratt
was-
from Parks and Recs. I know what it means when you come over and fix the sink. I know what that means. I've seen.
No, but anyway, I'm just saying the movie challenges masculinity and femininity, right?
Sure.
Does it not? Am I crazy? Yeah. I just found it interesting because again, what do I know about masculine people?
All right. You're about to go into the loop again.
All right, whatever. I thought it was just a question. Do you have nothing to say to that? You guys are like, yeah, I'm totally fine with men and like.
Ty, if I was
don't
so
know,
if I was so fine about it, I would be doing it myself. There's a reason I'm not doing it and getting massages from men. Goodness. Ty's like,
That's right,
you want
because-
this done to you because you accept it? Oh, you're sick.
No, anyway, whatever. I honestly thought they were alluding to. That's what I thought they were
Okay.
doing. That's what I thought that all the angles were. Maybe I'm just. The movie was very okay. Like the
It
undertone.
was uncomfortable, yes.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Thank
I
you.
literally said it was uncomfortable. We were just too busy. You guys are fetching motorcycle people. But you can't hear anybody else.
All right, whatever. I just didn't want to think I'm like some sick reading too much into it. That's all.
You're
I'm
not.
glad someone else noticed it, and I just had to get it off my chest.
Okay.
All right, folks. We end every podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Bryce, have you seen any movies lately? What have you been watching, dude?
I have, other than this movie, and I saw this movie called Faults. No, recently I watched G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes.
Is it any good?
And I actually really liked
Wait,
it.
Snake Eyes. Is
Snake
this
Eyes,
the
yeah.
second one, or is this the new one that just came
It's
out?
like the new spin-off, the G.I. Joe Origins.
yeah.
It was actually really well done. I think of all the G.I. Joe movies, that have come out, this was by far the best. And so I hope they continue it because, it's still kind of corny, and they, oh, he was a Joe and this is Cobra and all that. But I grew up with that stuff, so it's still kind of cool. So I thought that was really well done. And then I watched the Shang-Chi, that Marvel movie.
What'd you think?
And I was actually kind of disappointed. Everyone had hyped it up so much.
Yeah, I've heard
And
nothing but good things about it.
Yeah.
I was like the it's almost like that guy, the first half got me, I'm not gonna lie. Like I really liked the first half, and then it just took this turn where I was like, what am I watching? And then I couldn't get into it. So
Like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
yeah, kind of. I mean, it was really good up front, and I was like, they're
it
building
did go down a
characters
fantasy
and-
road where you're like, oh,
yeah, it was like,
oh, this is Narnia.
Okay, this is. Yeah.
It's
like
Narnia with Kung Fu Panda mixed.
And then at that point, it just got kind of ridiculous almost. And I was just like, okay, I'm, like, why would they have done this and that? And then all of a sudden the Avengers are like, hey, come on board. Like, you've done like 30 seconds worth of work. Like, why shouldn't you be an Avenger? So I don't know.
Hey, we need an Asian aboard.
I
Come on.
thought that was
We need to
a little
diversify.
disappointing. But
Yeah. Hey, we need more inclusivity.
Dude, that is the
I
scariest
love
thing with
that.
the Jonas Brothers. Holy fudge.
Dude, we've been watching South Park, Bryce. Yeah, we have a very perverse view of Disney and Mickey Mouse and all that stuff. But hey, I don't think they're wrong.
thought we
think
had a problem.
That Stone and Trey Parker are right. Oh gosh, I love coming down here and hearing about your problems. So
scary, dude.
Dude, I love Mickey, dude. So one thing I was gonna say,
teenage girls are
I love.
Stupid.
I love that you mentioned that, Bryce. Real quick for the listeners, what is your relationship? Do you have any superhero fatigue? Are you just swimming in all this? This is the new world order. Every movie has a superhero to it, Because I liked your thoughts on Joker, which is why I asked. Actually, I wanted you.
I'm a huge comic book guy. I mean, you can't see, behind me, but I've got boxes and boxes of comic books, and I'm into all that stuff. Oh, that's cool.
Okay. I bought those. Cameron inherited those from me, so. Those are actually. Say I'm cool, Bryce. Just say I'm cool. I need your validation, man.
All right, I'm cool.
Sorry.
You meant for me to say you're cool? I don't know if you were too busy talking about a second ago. I don't know how you come back from that.
Dude,
No,
this
stop,
movie
just
challenges
stop,
masculinity.
no one cares.
Does.
But I do
does.
the
what to
Marvel
say.
stuff. I'm not sick of it. I'm not sick of the DC stuff. When it's done right, I enjoy it because I watch movies to get away from reality. So I enjoy just the escape for 2-3 hours, whatever it is.
The Suicide Squad was.
Oh, I mean, I
Didn't like
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
anyway, you can look at any of these and tear any of them apart. You look at Star Wars, you look at the Marvels, you look at DC. Like, if you want to tear it apart, you can find faults in all of them. But there are ones where I feel like they've done a good job with the story, with the characters.
I know that's where your brain went, Jordan.
So
Yeah, he said faults intentionally there. I love it. So thanks for sharing that because I did for the first time I had superhero fatigue when I watched Black Panther and I remember thinking this is like and
racist.
Even thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, I'm like
the only black one, and you have fatigue all of a sudden. Okay.
I'm like, is anyone else bored of these Marvel movies? Yeah. I know I can't be the only one. Maybe I was.
No, I was
Yeah,
too. It just felt like they offered nothing different. Like I was excited to be seeing
They had
something
an amazing
different.
soundtrack and amazing visuals, and then one of the best villain opportunities. And then every 3 seconds,
Yes!
they before he can challenge you, be like, "Who is bad guy?" You're like, "Make him choke old lady." He's like, "Okay, yeah, he's bad guy."
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Michael B.
why
Jordan
can't he
was
be a
the
complex
biggest wasted
villain
opportunity.
Where you're
Yes.
like, okay, I feel like he's
Yes.
bad, but at the same time, he has some good points. But they're like, every single time the opportunity he has to be a complex villain, they're like, no, make him do something really evil to where he's like irredeemable. I'm like,
Right. Yeah. Michael B. Jordan's character, biggest wasted opportunity for sure.
but that body.
And Black Panther through the whole movie. I mean, Black Panther just gets its kick through the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to even relate, this is my hero.
And if there is
You know?
anyone on the face of the earth who actually thought he died when he got thrown off that waterfall, I'm like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Like, fetching.
I don't know, Cameron. When I saw him turn to ash in Infinity War, I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, they just let a
Yeah,
billion-dollar
Cameron, remember
franchise
you thought
die."
Spider-Man just died. Who
Yeah,
cried?
Cameron's crying. Mr. Stark, it hurts. Cameron's shedding tears over there, crying at the end of Pokemon.
You did too. Get the
It's
fudge out of here.
Ash.
I cried. Oh, I cried.
Mom
when
cried
Ash
as well.
Got frozen.
Yeah, her mom famously cried watching Pokemon the movie when Ash turns to stone.
She's like, what the fudge? Why am I crying? Because it's Pikachu,
Why
Mom.
am I crying? Dude, Pikachu's crying. Everyone's crying. All their tears flow up to Ash and revive him and turn him back into a human. I'm a real boy. It's great. So I would just say we end every podcast by sharing your social media presence. Bryce, do you have like a site or music that you want to demonstrate, or do you have like a place that people can find you on the internet?
Well, my fans right now, I'm running I'm running a special. I'm just kidding. I don't have fans.
Massaging. Got it. Okay.
It's just pictures. It's just pictures of my feet. All right, people are into that these days. No, so
They
I
pay premium price.
I have a SoundCloud account, and with a lot of the songs I've written and produced, and I have an album coming out. Hopefully I can get it out before the end of 2021, but it might be early 2022. But it's I'm really excited about it. So if you like metal and you're not going to listen to it and go punch your boss in the throat, then you might enjoy my album. But yeah, my SoundCloud, it's just, if you get on SoundCloud and search Bryce, BRYCE, like I'm probably like the 13th one down. And but yeah, I don't know if you guys got something where you can share links or whatever, but I can send you guys all that stuff.
Oh yeah, please.
For sure. Yeah, we'll post it in the description of the podcast. Great. Well, Bryce, we loved having you on, man. This has been a real treat. Usually we would share what we've watched, but for the sake of time, we're going to wrap it up. So this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us an email, futromovies@gmail.com. If you like this, follow, share, subscribe.
Or if you're gay and you want to talk to Ty about.
Yeah. Let's talk about the masculinity, femininity thing. I could talk about this all day because I don't understand it, which is why I posted it to you guys, thinking you guys were smarter. But
Jordan,
whatever.
why'd you put him back in the loop?
Anyways, wrap it up.
Yeah, see, I'm a broken record at this point. So everybody, leave us a review. Explain.
He's gonna go. He's
help.
gonna go moisturize his hands right now.
My feminine hands. So everybody, this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social media sites. Leave us a 5-star review. Thanks again. This is Futro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Later.